There is a person that works right under the Secretary of DHS who hates the United States and hates Israel and thinks Hamas is great. She still works there. Wait till you see the evidence. Your most unfavorite cabinet member is my most unfavorite cabinet member, Secretary of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. This guy goes before Congress and lies his ass off every single time. And it doesn't matter who's grilling him at the Senate. Sometimes, well, I was going to say, sometimes it's the Senate, sometimes it's the House.
Mm-hmm.
They're all ferociously against him for leaving the border open. I want you to see what Mayorkas said in defense of a horrible person that works almost directly for him, who hates Jews professionally, and Mayorkas refused to fire her. Check out this video.
What about people who say things like F Israel and any Jew who supports Israel? This person works for you. This is Nuja Ali, an employee of the Department of Homeland Security. That's not all she posted. This is a paraglider, a Hamas paraglider with the celebratory Free Palestine. Is this typical of people who work at DHS? This is an asylum and immigration officer who is posting these frankly pro-genocidal slogans and images on the day that Israelis are being slaughtered in their beds. What have you done about this?
4 things I'd like to say to you. Number one, your question to suggest that that is emblematic of the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security is despicable.
I'm sorry, what have you done? This person works for the Department of Homeland Security. Have you fired her?
That was one of 4 answers.
Have you fired her?
One.
Have you fired her? Don't come to this hearing room when Israel has been invaded and Jewish students are barricaded in libraries in this country and cannot be escorted out because they are threatened for their lives. You have employees who are celebrating genocide, and you are saying it's despicable for me to ask the question? Has she been fired? Has she been fired?
So that individual has been placed on administrative leave.
So she's not been fired.
Number 2, the individual was hired in 2019.
Why has she not been fired?
Number 3, I cannot speak to an ongoing personnel matter.
Why has this person not been fired? Your answer is you can't speak to it? This isn't sufficient to fire her?
I am not in a position.
She's still on your payroll as we sit here today.
I'm not in a position to speak about an ongoing personnel.
I'm not asking about that. I'm asking you how many cases she adjudicated.
My answer remains.
Did she adjudicate any cases involving Israelis seeking asylum in this country?
Same answer.
I think the American people deserve to know. Has she admitted, contrary to law, individuals who should not be in this country, or denied Jewish refugees whose genocide she's advocating asylum that they deserve?
Same answer.
You're not gonna tell us what this person's done? You conducted a review of her cases at least?
I cannot speak to an ongoing.
You said that you will not. I can't believe that you would come to this committee knowing this. You know about this. I've written to you about it. You know all about it. And you come here unwilling to answer and suggest that it is wrong of me to ask you the question. And I think the fact that you are not willing to provide answers to this committee is absolutely atrocious.
Unbelievable. Josh Hawley has been writing to Mayorkas for months about these people who hate America,
Yep,
who hate Israelis, who hate Jews. This woman is in a very, very significant position of authority. He was prepared for the question because Hawley had written to him about her, and he dodges the answer by saying, well, she's on leave, still getting paid,
yep.
while HR buries it, still getting paid. And I can't speak to it because I did nothing. And this woman still works at DHS because we're not opposed to what she's doing. Is that pretty much a summary of what you just saw?
100%. And you notice they always go, well, we can't talk about personal internal matters on personnel. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They use the same excuse for everything. Oh, that's an internal investigation. We can't talk about investigations. So they turn something into a personal investigation or personnel, and then they can't talk about it because it's personnel. What? They deflect. She should be removed. She should have been fired a long time ago. A long time ago. But they keep her there because that's the mentality that they have. And what you didn't see in that video, Barry, at the end of that, Mayorkas is acting like he's crying and going, well, I want you to know what you don't know is that my family is a Holocaust survivor. Then act like it. Then act like it. And then it dawned on me, he's the same type as George Soros. He's the same type as Chuck Schumer. He's the same type as the rest of these rabbis that's siding with Hamas. I don't understand it. You know what, Barry, I've mentioned this to you before. It reminds me of the same thing black people do. Black people know who the bad guys are, but yet they still continue to support them. These Jewish people, they know who the bad guys are, and they still continue to support them. It's liberalism. What it comes down to is a demonic spirit called liberalism, and they're infected with it. They don't care about doing anything wrong, anything right. They do what's wrong. And he literally was sitting there almost like he's crying at the end, saying, they're going to be doing this to me. No, if you cared, then you would say, if he cared, then Senator Hawley would be drilling him about it right now. He would have fired her.
Yeah.
And then she put the stuff on public. She put the stuff on public forums, Barry. And then Mayorkas have the nerve to sit there and say that this is internal matter. She put it out in the public. He has billboards of it. What are you talking about, internal public personnel matter? It's not. She put it out in the public. She should be fired. And shame on him.
She should have already been fired. And the idea that this guy is hiding behind, it's a personnel matter being handled by Human Relations Department at DHS, is BS. He could have very simple answered the question. What she said was horrible. He didn't. We don't support her views. He didn't. We fired her for being anti-Israel, anti-American. He didn't. And he could have also said, and we've investigated, and no cases were adjudicated improperly, or if they were, we fixed it. All of those things could have been said in the hearing of the Senate Oversight Committee, but he didn't, because he's just personally opposed to anything logical, i.e., putting up a fence at the border. That's all I can say. Every time he comes before the House or the Senate, everything he says is stupendously ignorant. He gets away with it.
Yeah, he gets away with it. You know what the interaction reminded me of? It reminded me of Senator Rand Paul and Fauci. Fauci would come up there and constantly lie. Gain of function, remember that? Constantly lied. Been caught in lies, and nothing happens to these people. Nothing.